Greetings and welcome to the original show with Chris and Liza. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and let the day begin.
Yes, yes.
So, welcome, Chris. The floor is yours, dear.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the original. I'm Chris. I'm a mother of four beautiful sons. I'm a healthcare executive, a homeschooling mom, and the co host of the original with the lovely Lisa.
And welcome, everyone. I am Lisa, your expert hypnotherapist, co host to this incredible show that we have started. It is by women for women, and it's all kinds of talks from personal to professional, from career to internal and healing. So let us begin the show. So, Chris, what are we talking about this week?
This week I thought we'd talk about all of the new things that have been going on. Lots of changes. Obviously, COVID is still part of our lives. The pandemic is still, we haven't gotten out of the woods yet, but things are changing, and we're entering new levels. So we're out of lockdown. We're sort of going back to normal. But this past year, so many things have changed for people. And one of the themes, the overlying themes that I have seen in the support groups that I'm a part of is that people have had to pivot. So this word is trending right now, pivoting. And for people with careers, that means you're pivoting from one expertise or one specialty to another. Maybe you lost your job during the pandemic. Maybe you had to move because of the pandemic and you've had to pivot. There are unfortunately people that have lost loved ones, and that may have resulted in the loss of income or a loss of a home and shelter. And so they've had to pivot in that way. And, so with all of the difficulty and the challenge and the struggle that comes with changes, there's also a bright side. And the bright side is that you have an opportunity to do something new and learn something new. So I think learning something new and doing something new are kind of at the center of pivoting, right? When you're going from one thing to another.
Like a
And
newbie.
yes. Yes. And so now with social media and the tech industry, there is the term called Newb, which is short for newbie or newcomer. So
Oh,
I myself have felt like a noob many times, especially in the past couple of weeks. And I've kind of sort of hinted about it with you. I'm learning all kinds of new things right now. The big learning curve for me is a field in cryptocurrency called non-fungible tokens. So I'm gaining an expertise in that. It's a fascinating, fascinating world. I'm very excited about it. It really appeals to my creativity and learning new platforms. It's very complicated to explain to someone who is not familiar with cryptocurrency, but that's kind of the thing that I'm into right now. And I'm going to get to a place where I can explain it to a lay person that has no experience in cryptocurrency. But it's difficult. I'm nervous, and I feel like a noob would feel. I feel inadequate. I feel a little bit shy, not my usual confident self. So I have those stages of the lack of confidence, and so I know that a lot of people have been going through that and feeling that. So maybe we could share what things we can do for ourselves, what affirmations we can share with ourselves to gain that confidence, even though we are noobs in a new industry or a new platform, or even just learning Instagram on my phone, learning all these new things. I may not have the best perfect product when I'm doing my reels, but I'm trying, I'm learning. So it's a little nerve-wracking, you know.
well, I think change is inevitable because we go through change all the time. I mean, even my clients who come in here and they say, I don't want to change this or change is difficult. Uh, we have to realize we deal with change all the time, a change of scenery, a change the way we change clothes all the time. We change homes, we change cars. So change is so much a part of our norm. And the ones that say, I don't want to change anything, I think it's a different conception of what is it that they want to change. And then it's that energy, the block that we create of I don't want to change, realizing that the subconscious mind does not understand the word don't. So every time we say I don't want to, it's putting this wall against something. And when we push against something that we don't want, it reinforces back to us. So once we understand change, it doesn't matter if we have been doing the same thing over and over or a newbie, it's realizing find meaning. Number one thing is find meaning. Why is it that I want to learn about the currency? Why is it that I want to delve into Bitcoin? Bitcoin,
Yes.
right. So, and I know it's not real money, and yet it's like a bartering. That much I know. It's like bartering money. It's not tangible money in your hand, but it's got value, which is like playing Monopoly with real people. So that in itself, it's how we look at change and how you are looking at that.
Yeah, and also witnessing my children learning new things. I mean, we accept that when kids are young and they are learning something new that we already know how to do, they'll get frustrated. I see them getting frustrated. I see them having a lack of confidence. Sometimes they'll say, I just don't want to do it. I give up. When my son is learning a new piece on his guitar or his piano, if he can't play it perfectly, he gets so frustrated. And for some reason, when we're adults watching children do this, we have that understanding. Oh, it's difficult. Yes, I know. Don't give up. We're very encouraging. But sometimes when it's us, when it's ourselves doing it, we're so much harder on ourselves. And we have to remember that the brain is very plastic. And your brain, when you're learning something new, your brain is the same as it was when you were a kid and you're learning something new. The neurons, the nerve cells of the brain are like, just like a normal cell, but they have this long arm that's called a glial cell. And then it's an axiom on the end of that arm. And that those arms can connect to new cells and new neurons when you're learning something new. And those arms get reinforced with proteins when you're learning something new. So it really is like being young again when you're learning something new. So you have to, I guess, give yourself room for failure, room for feeling a little bit of lack of confidence. And, but eventually you'll get over it. Just like when you see a little kid getting over when they finally learn to ride a bike or learn to play a piece on the piano or learn to do anything. Last week, my kids were learning how to ski. So, at first they're falling and then they get used to it and then they're not falling and then they're having more fun. But in the beginning, yeah, it can be a little frustrating.
So, does it also come to expectations? And, we're talking about that. I had a client that came in just a few days ago, and she was talking about not meeting her own expectations and being perfect. Like, I'm doing everything perfect. It has to be perfect. So can we talk about when there is this thing of wanting to be perfect, is it difficult to adapt to change?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because for me, I'm so hard on myself sometimes when I'm learning something new. If I don't get it quite right, or it's not perfect in my mind, I feel like a failure, even though, later when I look back on it, I'm like, wow, I accomplished that. And it was so new to me at the time, so yeah, perfectionism. I think in the field of psychology, it's called imposter syndrome, where you think that you don't deserve this until you can get it quite right or quite perfect, forgetting that we're all human beings and we all have to start somewhere, and eventually you'll get good. And your mistakes are really the stepping stone, right? There's only through a lot of times through mistakes can you get better and you learn more. So being unafraid of making mistakes, or being better on yourself, not so hard on yourself when a mistake happens.
Or being good enough instead of
Yeah.
making it perfect, because truly there is no such thing as perfection. And I don't know, maybe in our audience, if you have any questions, by all means, please place your questions here. We do see any and all questions. If you have a comment, by all means, please comment, and we will be more than happy to respond to any of your comments. And I don't know if this resonates with you or not, that change is a little bit difficult, or you have certain expectations of yourself, of your children, making things perfect. And where does that perfectionism come from? Who said that it has to be perfect? Or where did you pick up that if it was not perfect, what are the consequences?
Oh my gosh, it's been instilled in us since the beginning, right? That's what grades are about. It's one of the main reasons I took my kids out of public school and out of the school system, is because just the grading system. Every little thing you do is judged, and you either get an A, and A is the only acceptable thing. In an Asian family like mine, A was the only acceptable grade. You couldn't get any other grade. Any other grade was, looked at with, disappointment and sometimes punishment. It just depends. So unfortunately, that perfectionism, it's kind of conditioned in us, starting at a young age. And if you're hurt enough along the way when you're trying to learn something, and that confidence is knocked out of you by either your teachers or your parents or your people around you, or the grading system, then unfortunately that's something you have to unlearn when you're an adult. And it's something I had to really work on, just getting into the career that I'm in now in healthcare. When I first started out 10, 12 years ago, I knew nothing about it. I was in marketing. I worked for a retail company. So I didn't know anything about healthcare, and I had to learn that. I had to learn everything. And now that I'm moving into more technology related work, I have to learn all new things again. And the one thing I have to fight every day is, am I too old to learn this? Just that initial lack of confidence that, and I don't even, of course, I'm not too old to learn it, because I learn something new every day. But it's that other side of it where, am I ever going to be good enough in it to say that I know it, that I say that I learn it? But it's a judgment I put on myself that is unnecessary, right?
This reminds me of a client who came in, and we were talking, and she was not Asian, I have to say this, but one of the things that she recalls is, we were talking about it because she had, I don't want to call it a syndrome, but not good enough, not worthy enough, or not deserving enough. And that she had to cross all her T's without, she came in for an OCD. Okay. And as we progressed in hypnosis and doing the therapy and everything, one of the things, when I said, what's the first thing that you recall? She said, I remember when I was 8 years old. Now, by all means, this is 8 years old. 8-year-old child takes her grade card home, and it was like, was it 8 years old or 8th grade? I'm sorry, 8th grade. She takes her card home, and her mother sees that she got an A minus. And the first thing she hears her mother say is, why an A minus and not an A?
Yeah. So disappointment. Yeah.
So automatically it was like, even in an A minus, even though I got an A, it was not good enough. So she constantly had to strive in getting an A and being better than anyone else. And that competition put her into an anxiety that by the age of 15 years old, she was on all kinds of depressive, anxious medications.
Yeah, and it really just ruins the fun of learning when we've got such these expectations that are really not reasonable. Because let me tell you, I have hired and worked with 1,000 employees in my lifetime. And not once have I ever asked any prospective candidate, what were your grades in 8th grade? Did you get an A or an A minus? No, and it doesn't even matter. By the time you reach the working world, so many
Mm.
other things count, and besides grades. So, it's interesting and a little bit, mystifying why we have such a focus on grades, because I can totally relate to that story. That's how it was in my house. A's were really the only acceptable grade. And once,
But
once
isn't that grade truly? I know it is placing. I mean, we all want to have a great grade. We all want. Not everyone is a 4.0 average. Being a part of a service organization that we go and give grants and everything at the end of the year for scholarships and things
right,
like that.
right.
And
Mhm,
it's an incredible organization that truly promotes those who are achievers, high achievers. And that's what it is. I mean, there is a whole slew of applications to be high achieving. So, and then it's like looking at those numbers 4.5, 4.6, not only in class, but in extracurriculums, in community. I mean, by the time they are 18, they have absolutely no understanding of what play is,
mhm.
what
Yeah.
is falling down, what is being hurt, what is being, this thing. It's constantly doing, which, what is it that I say? Doing nothing is doing something. Is sometimes, we have
Mhm,
to give ourselves that cut that slack.
mhm.
So in a way, bringing it back to COVID, I think COVID has been good for a lot of people in taking time away to slow
Mhm.
down.
Yeah, and it brings back to your point. What is the purpose? What is your purpose? Because sometimes achievement is all about this very superficial purpose that is not really the true thing that you want to achieve, right? If we're like one of the criticisms of STEM classes, that's the science technology classes, is that girls will drop out of STEM if they don't have perfect grades. Whereas
Mm.
their male counterparts, the boys in their class, will just pass, and they'll end up with the degrees in STEM, because we put this kind of pressure on girls to be at these quote unquote achieving at these levels, when really once a C is the average. If you think about it, it's average. It means that you've learned what you need to learn. You're not, there's so many levels at which you can say I've learned it, and then you can take that knowledge onto the next level. But if you say I can't get to that next level unless I'm at the top of the class, I'm an A student, then your purpose is kind of secondary. Is just like what you were saying. The purpose of learning STEM and technology is to learn the technology, not to get a 4.0 in the class. That's a different,
Okay.
that's a completely different stage of
Is that
achievement.
true?
So, yeah, is that true? Like if you tested me right now on Bitcoin, I'd probably get a C. I wouldn't get an A, but I know more about Bitcoin than I did 2 weeks ago. I know more about NFTs and non-fungible tokens that I did yesterday,
I
and I
know. I know
applied that.
more about Instagram than I knew
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
you're gonna have to tell me what you learned about Instagram. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Uh, Not much, because all I'm learning uh, is that I'm just doing to be present, not necessarily knowing it's just like it's a whole different world. If
It
we
is.
really want to show up and perform in anything and be good at it, we must delve into it, which I call it just like a computer, just like a website, from
Mhm.
the back end. That
Yep.
means we need to understand the algorithms. We need to
Mhm.
understand when to post, what time to post, who to post it, what to hashtag, you
Right.
know That is not my specialty, and I never asked to be a professional in social marketing. That's why I want to hire someone. So that in itself is knowing and being good at knowing ourselves, knowing myself. What is my strength? What is my weakness? My weakness is social media, but my strength is doing the work that I do in hypno coaching, in hypnotherapy, and helping my clients achieve the results that they want to achieve.
Right. Right. So it's it's just the parallel about grades and knowledge that that's exactly the parallel. You know, you need to work with clients. You need to work one-on-one with people and change lives, because that's what you're good at. That's the purpose that you have in life. Your purpose is not to get 6,000 followers on Instagram. Although, you know, that is one of the things you can do to help people, is to be on Instagram, because social media is a part of our life. It's like when we were going from having memos to email. You know, you had to learn email because that was the wave of the future. So social media is the wave of the future. So we do have to learn it. And I'm, you know, definitely open to it, even though my son calls me a boomer when I don't quite understand everything about. Like, what? You're still on Facebook? I'm like, what? Of course I'm still on Facebook. What's wrong with Facebook? And then he has to explain to me how Facebook is not the social media anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's why I'm on Instagram.
It's not. But are you really on Instagram, or are you already? So the change, the entire thing is like, I think for adults, it's becoming Clubhouse. And I call it that because it's 24/7, and it's not all visual, it's auditory. So that in itself, when we are talking about plasticity, it's, I love that one because it is so auditory. And for those who shy away from speaking, it gives them an opportunity to be behind. There is nothing for them to feel as if they are judged, they are looked at, they are being, you know, it's not the visual. So it is just the opportunity to raise a hand and speak. And it has allowed so many people to express. And one of the things that I constantly talk about, would you rather hurt yourself or express yourself? And that is one of the arenas. And I think this is one of the works that you and I started doing, is not only through hypnotherapy, but helping you as a homeschool mom, reaching out to so many parents, is realizing that there is many ways you can help your child, help a loved one, touch within. Because bottom line, what is it that we want? It's not all the things, the mechanics, the algorithms, the bitcoins and everything. At the bottom is nothing really matters, except what I want is to feel validated, to be accepted, to be loved.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And Clubhouse is, you know, since I've joined it's been actually, it's kind of back to what I know how to do, because it's a little bit going backwards, right? You know, this social media with the video and the comments, that's newer to me than the format of Clubhouse. Format of Clubhouse is more teleconference, and I'm so used to that, and yeah, I'm so accustomed to being a speaker in that kind of arena. So it seems like that's more familiar to me, even though that is the newest social media platform. It seems like it's something I can do that I don't have such a big learning curve for, you know, compared to Instagram or Facebook. So yeah,
even that has algorithms of its own. So
yeah,
I think
I realize that.
I think whatever it is that we do in life, it's how much we want to know. You don't know what you don't know, right? Yeah, it's like if we don't watch the news, we don't know what's going on in the news if we are busy in our office working away. I mean, truly, I can be working all day long, not know what is going on outside of my building, and things may change outside, and I have absolutely no idea.
Right. Yeah, and it's about being open to learning and maybe allowing yourself to recapture that love of learning, right? Because I see it in my children all the time when they finally learn something or master something. Just the feeling of satisfaction, the feeling of joy, the feeling of accomplishment. You know, you could see it in their faces. It's really wonderful. And I feel it too when I finally accomplish something, when I, learn something new and I finally master it. It takes time and I struggle through it, but the feeling at the end is great. And I think that, we're all at just the right age, no matter what age you are, to have that feeling, to have that sense of accomplishment, to be open to learning and free to just learn anything you want to learn. So it's a great feeling to know that we have the opportunity to do that, even though COVID has changed our lives in so many different ways. We have the opportunity to do something new, and as long as we allow ourselves, don't get too rattled by how difficult things are, we have that opportunity, and it's all in front of us to do.
Exactly. Wasn't a few years ago that there was this woman who graduated college at 89?
Yes.
And she
Yes.
was so proud of herself, saying she walked down. I mean, they held her hand and she said, "It doesn't matter when it is. I am walking down," and she put her tassel from one side to another,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they helped her down the stairs. So it, to be so open to learning, and it doesn't matter. I know for a fact I did that to myself. I remember years ago, I said, I'm too old to go back to school. I'm too old to go back to school. And now, you know, I know I'm halfway between, if not more than what my life expectancy is. And still to this day, I'm learning something new every day.
I know you've had such changes in your life. You went from one type of career to another, and you had to
Six
all learn.
careers. I've
Yeah,
changed
it's
six
amazing.
careers.
No, and I totally love and admire that you shine in that, like you've been this and you've been that. I don't want to, speak for you, but just, amazing experience. So, I think it definitely encourage people to, if it's something you're slightly curious about, just dive into it. There's so many resources. If you have internet access, you can literally learn anything you want, anything. There's stories now of mothers who have been stay-at-home moms while raising their kids, and now their kid is in college. They've joined them, and they're going to college too with their kids.
Together.
So, great stories like that. I love those stories.
And that's why I admire, one of the things is starting next month, which I am so excited. I'm going to be promoting this, but is that I'm going to be part of an internet TV. It's called iShe TV, and the show is going to be He'll Talk with Liza, not He'll Talk Tuesdays on Facebook, but He'll Talk with Liza, and which I will be interviewing women who have gone through massive challenges of their own to be where they are right now, and their experience and how they are motivating or making changes for others. And it can be through what they are doing, through their service, through a book, how they are impacting others, and maybe even a global way. When we think about that, you see that there's people who have incredible ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, they have done massive changes in their life. I mean, and when I think about myself, and I'm going, I'm nothing compared to what they have accomplished. And yet, realizing it's not about comparison, because every one of us has had our own stories, our own challenges, It's not that
Yeah.
one is better than the other one, or one is worse than the other one, or not good enough. And if we can just drop those comparisons and realize we each have a gift.
Yes.
Every single human being is here for a gift. And that's exactly why you and I started this show, because it is the original. We are here to talk about things that maybe it's not being voiced. I mean, a few weeks ago, we talked about what? We talked about menopause. We've talked about sex. And by the way, anyone who's watching this, you can definitely go on our YouTube channel, which is the original show with Chris and Liza on YouTube, and watch our other episodes. By all means, we encourage you to subscribe and support us and let us know how we are doing.
Yes, and we talk about quite a lot of subjects, a great variety of subjects. It's amazing all the variety that we've talked about. But yeah, that's right. And one of the coolest things about this show and learning all this is that we can take this to any level. And although we are the two women talking about women's issues, it really encompasses all human issues. My children are all boys, and they watch the show and they learn something new all the time. So, yes, it is a show about for education and entertainment and women's issues, but it does we really cover a lot of different issues that encompass both men and women. So
Exactly. So if any of you, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any thoughts or any topics that you would like us to shed a light and discuss, by all means, let us know. Chris and I decided we're open. We'll talk about anything from sex to religion, from studying, from children, just about anything. And except what? No politics, right?
I'm open to it if you are. I prefer not to, though. There's so many other more interesting things to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah, and really, this is a creative endeavor, and it is my little creative outlet. So I enjoyed it on that level, but I want to encourage everybody to have that, to use get some sort of creative outlet going, because not only is it good for you for your mental and emotional health, but it's really the wave of the future. And let me throw in another thing about cryptocurrencies and non-fungible tokens is that this trend in this field really relies on creative people. For the first time, it's not relying on the big banks and the financial elite. It's relying on creative people that can create things, music, art, shows, writing, anything that is a creative endeavor is really the kind of the resource of this new future platform, which is very exciting for me. So
I'm sure it is exciting because apparently there was an art that sold for like big money, but it was all in Bitcoin. Art is being sold and traded on Bitcoin, yes. And it went more than thousands. I want to say thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah, several 100,000 actually.
Yes.
So the first tweet was sold as a non-fungible token, as an NFT. That went for about $1 million. Elon Musk created some kind of digital art, and he sold that for $750,000. So
exactly.
Really creative people, you are the future. This is where it's at. So keep being creative, stick to it, stick to your guns, keep creating, because really that's what's going to feed all of us in the future.
Bottom line, that's called change.
Yes. Well, very welcome change.
Exactly. And for that, oh my God, I love it. We are more than our half an hour timeline.
And gosh, fast.
I know. So, for our viewers, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Calling ourselves, this episode is the newbie. We talked a lot about change. We talked about cryptos. We talked about children. We talked about perfectionism, all encompassing what change is and how to welcome change. For that, I want to thank you all. I am Liza, your expert hypnotherapist, stress management consultant, and Chris.
Yes, I'm Chris, and you can find me on Instagram now, Chris Goda 808 on Instagram. You can email me at my Gmail as well. And yeah, let's talk. I'm on Clubhouse. If any of you know what Clubhouse is and know what's going on, I'm
You
there.
have to have an iPhone.
You have to have an iPhone, yes. But I'm there and contributing weekly. So lots of new things happening. Would love to connect with anyone. So
Yes.
please connect with me, Instagram or email, and we'll get going. We'll get talking and share.
And for those of you who are ready to make a change within your life, by all means, give me a call, contact me. I'm on Instagram, Clubhouse, and right here you may email me at lisab@healwithin. So until next week, God bless you and may the universal light surround you. Bye,
Bye,
Chris.
everyone. Bye, Lisa.